to thrive, and much more to show. Let's rejoice the majestic journey this establishment had up till now. Let's raise a toast to make it even better. Let us take a vow. I am Shloka Pakala. I am the Master of Ceremonies here to host the first day of the third Agora Convention. I extend a hearty welcome to all the Agoracons and guests who have logged in from all around the world. Agora Convention is an annual celebration of Agora Speakers Formation Day. It is a celebration of speakers and communicators, a place to meet and greet, a place to share knowledge and experience, a place to compete with the best around the world, and also to learn and grow. Music resembles poetry. In each, a numerous graces with no methods teach. A master hand alone can reach. It washes away the dust of daily life from the soul. We Indians always start our programs with an invocation. So please raise as we have a rendition by Snigdha and a performance by Shloka.
Good morning everyone, this is Snigdha and today I am going to sing a Carnatic rendition named Ganesha Kumar. Ganesha Kumar Parma, Ganesha Kumar Parma, Chamuka Ganesha Kumar Parma, Chamuka Ganesha Kumar Parima, Gachamuka Ganesha Kumar Parima, Manorada Siddhinayaka, Manorada Siddhinayaka, Gama Padadinuta Bhavashi Kuruhita Gajamuka Ganesha Kumar Parma, Jamuka Ganesha Kumar Parima, Jamuka Ganesha Kumar Parma, Parma, Parima.
Hari Hari Gajamukha Vigha Vinayaka, Hari Hari Gajamukha Vigha Vinayaka, Suranudahara Sutta Ganapati Jaya Jaya, Hari Hari Gajamukha Vigha Vinayaka, Suranudahara Sutta Ganapati Jaya Jaya, Hari Hari Gajamukha Vigha Vinayaka, Suranudahara Sutta Ganapati Jaya Jaya, Hari Hari Gajamukha Vigha Vinayaka, Suranudahara Sutta Ganapati.
Agora. The Agora Speakers International is a European secular educational charity that empowers people to become brilliant communicators and confident leaders who will build an actively better world. We provide a specialized educational program focused on developing leadership, public speaking, critical thinking, and debating skills. Our training system does not involve teachers or classes. To learn and improve, our members use our online training material and join one or more Agora local clubs, where they meet, practice, and receive peer feedback regularly in a friendly and supportive environment. At the same time, they participate in and lead real world projects that leave a lasting effect in communities. Founded in 2016, we have now an active presence in over 70 countries through over 150 clubs worldwide. As a true charity for the clubs that are open to everyone, all our activities, educational materials are totally free with no sign up, membership, or chartering costs of any kind, nor or any mandatory purchases. Starting a local club is also free. Please put your hands together for our founder, Mr. Alexander Rostov. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, fellow Agorians. It's a real pleasure and a real honor to be here with all of you. We've come a long way throughout these years since Agora was founded in 2016. But today I want to talk about a very specific subject. We usually talk a lot about storytelling within our Agora sessions and the importance of storytelling in how to frame our arguments, our desires, our message in general. And we all have stories. It's easy to process. And usually a good story always have a villain. And they don't have villains because it's easy to live in a world where there are villains. Villains are like single color. Even in the movies, they are evil, they are dark, and that's that. Everyone knows that. There's no discussion, there can't be any argument. A villain needs to be fought by any means possible, and we all accept that. But I want to ask you the question, how did we learn that they were villains though? I mean, did we witness their evil deeds ourselves? Did we personally suffer under their madness? Or was it rather than we were fascinated, drawn like flies to a lantern by the epic story of struggle of unblemished heroes against those villains? Heroes that, not by chance, happen to be people like us, our people, our team, us. So did we actually think over the story? Did we examine whether it made any sense last time we heard a story about villains? Did we scrutinize the evidence? Did we even request to see the evidence? Probably we didn't. And we didn't because it's easy to be carried away, to enjoy the pleasure, to let the brain shut off for a moment and just go with the flow. Because thinking for ourselves is not easy. It does take effort. It takes time. And it is frustrating. It is frustrating because in the real world, there are never clear-cut cartoon-style characters that are villains. There's no black and white, especially if you start digging under the surface. But it's precisely in times like this when we must be especially vigilant against the twisted tales of hypothetical courage. It's all too easy to call someone a villain to silence their voice. It's all too easy to delegate the authority of thinking, the authority of scrutinizing to someone else, a friend, a person of authority, an institution, theoretically reputed, the government. It's all too easy to start trusting someone that you think has your best interest in mind, when in fact everyone has their own agenda. Critical thinking is indispensable these days because we, and when I say we, I'm not speaking about the abstract we that we usually use in speech, is that nebulous concept of we in general, but that never concerns actually me. No, I'm speaking about us here and now, about the attendees of this convention, about the people that are watching this. We might very well be approaching the moment, a time when someone will point at someone else and tell you that they're your enemy, that they're planning to attack you, that anything they say is propaganda and you shouldn't listen to it. And then the next stage is that you see big words like nation, people, ancestors, God, blood spilled, fighting for freedom, pain and suffering, all those heavy words that actually they only hide the fact that there are no arguments. All those words start to be thrown around. A very poor way to hide the lack of arguments. Poor, but unfortunately effective because it does work. It works every single time. It has worked today, it worked yesterday, it worked a century ago, it has worked every single time throughout our shared millennial history. How dare you offend us with your blasphemy, they'll say. How dare you disrespect your country, your parents, your culture, your gods? What you're saying is offensive. Your dissent is offensive. Your thoughts are offensive. How ironic that precisely the suffering and the blood of the people that came before us that fought for our freedom are being used to take away that very same freedom. It's the epitome of what Kipling said in his poem about the truth being twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. And then there will be a time when everyone that raises their voice will be labeled a traitor. The media and the outlets they use to express themselves will be criminalized and shut down. Anyone not in our group will be stigmatized. Symbols will be invented to clearly mark them as outcasts so that they can be easily identified and you can hide your children away from them. You can hide them from you. If you think that the marks that the Jews were handed out during World War, the Star of David, is something that we will never see again, think harder because, or look better, I would say, look harder, because there are many Stars of David being handed out right now. And then, little by little, almost unnoticeably, you will be suffocated to the point where you can only talk one way, you can only think one way, and you can only feel one way, and that's the way others have decided for you. And if you think that you're immune to this, better have a hard and honest look at the mirror. Because during the trying times, those who will first frown at your dissenting opinion, at your blasphemous thoughts, won't be some comic shaped villain police oppressor. No, the first one frowning and censoring your opinion will be your friends, your colleagues, your partner, maybe even your own family, who have already fallen for that groupthink. We've seen many examples in the current situation in which even parents have doubted first-hand accounts of their own children of current events and have labeled them as traitors. And once we're at that stage, it only takes a small push and you'll be given a weapon and asked to fight the villains. And that's no comic story anymore. At that point, you will realize that maybe you should have stood your ground, that maybe you should have voiced your concerns, that maybe you should have spoken up. But at that point, it will be already too late because the machinery, the society, the enormous things that drives our lives in which we're all a bit of unwilling cogs would have already started to turn. Our goal in Agora is to help you become the kind of leader that the world needs. But to be a true leader, to be the master, even if you don't want to be a leader, to be at least the master of your own destiny, to be the owner of your own decisions and not to be just a puppet or a marionette or a tool of someone else, you need to get used to make the effort to think for yourself and to think critically. And don't look at Agora to tell you what to think, because we don't want to replace just to be the next one to tell you that. No, that's a path you have to walk yourself. We're here to give you the tools, but this is your own road. And thinking critically always includes critically examining your own ideas, being aware of your own hot buttons. In this imperfect world, human as it is, always doubt when something triggers an emotional, reflexive reaction in you, because that's the brain taking a shortcut, not thinking it, and going from input to action without any conscious process, just raw emotion. Don't believe unconditionally in anyone or anything. Don't be blinded by authority or prestige or wisdom because we're all imperfect people. Everyone is. Every single person on this earth is. We all carry our baggage. We all have our past demons, some of them present. We all have our dreams. We all have our insecurities and our desires and our agendas, and we all try to achieve what we consider is our happiness. At the end of the day, even an old wise man can be wrong, and even a child can be right. It's never been true that to steal a bit from Washington Post's motto, democracy dies in darkness. Above all, we need to preserve the capacity and the freedom to speak and to think. Every time you have the urge of sticking a label on someone or the burning desire for their offensive ideas to be silenced, think that maybe you're the next in line to be gagged. There are no offensive ideas in the world. There are only people willing to be offended. So Godspeed, fellow Agorians, and I hope you always remain as tolerant, open-minded, and defenders of the capacity to speak and think freely.
Thank you, sir, for, for your words of encouragement. Okay. It's time to meet our first speaker for today. To introduce the speaker, we have a ninth grader who is a basketballer and a soccer player who inspires to follow his idol, Messi. It's Srujan. Srujan, the floor is yours.
Me immense pleasure in inviting this eminent speaker. She is a best-selling author and TEDx speaker. She primarily writes contemporary romantic suspense, The Lovable Heart, and Dizzy Heat. Starring hot, possessive, and decent heroes and strong, stubborn, and independent women set in a lush world full of passionate danger and emotional peril. The Worst Daughter Ever, the Desi chicklet novel, is an Amazon top 10 bestseller. Among others, it has also been optioned for screen adaptation. Her latest international best-selling Millionaire Foe series is part of Writers on the Moon Project, time capsule to go to the actual moon. Her latest release, Burn, is an Amazon India top 40 bestseller, while Stand for Ukraine, a charity anthology she was a part of, is an Amazon International bestseller. She is an amateur poet, aspiring screenwriter, and young adult urban fantasy enthusiast. She lives in Mumbai with her large and extended family in a version of her Happy Ever After. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Aarti V. Raman, as she is here to speak on Discipline Makes the.
Should I start? If I can
Yes,
start,
ma'am.
can somebody? Yeah, okay. Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, that was a very lovely introduction. Thank you so much, Shujin. It was really nice to hear all these lovely things about myself that I wrote myself. Um, Before I begin, I absolutely have to say this. Alexander's speech was inspiring, it was empowering, and it actually reflected a lot of the ideals that I personally believe and follow myself. And if we really want to understand and if we really want to bring about revolutionary change, I think what everybody needs to do, including everybody who is above 18, is to go vote for change. Like, that's the only thing that we can do. That's where dissent begins. And side note on dissent, I'm actually currently part of this amazing anthology that's called Dissent. It's an anthology for charity for women's reproductive rights, and 150 authors have come together to basically dissent against the Supreme Court of the United States and try and do some good in the world. So, Alexander, your message has been received wide and clear, um, by me at least, and I hope by all of you. So yeah, okay, let me talk about how discipline makes the dream work. Full disclosure, still not completely there yet, not a super disciplined person, but I made to this speech on time, and that is a huge win for me, I would say. Okay, Cristiano Ronaldo, Virat Kohli, Stephen King, who is the co-creator of this amazing series called The Sandman. You guys are probably watching it on Netflix, and Nora Roberts. What do all of these people have in common? They're undeniably rich for one. They're famous and they're like super talented. Even Nora Roberts, you have to take my word for it. But the one thing that really brings all these people together is that they are very incredibly ruthlessly disciplined in the way that they practice their life and craft or game or their skill set. Now, I'm just going to talk about Nora Roberts because she is the undeniable queen of romance. And I grew up reading her books since I was a wee baby. And to now say that I am actually a romance writer myself, that I am her peer, is an honor and a cherished dream for me, for the little girl in me, as well as for the romance writer in me. So I know everybody has this idea of how a writer should be, wherein we are just sitting at our laptops and we are waiting frantically for inspiration to strike, and then when it does, we start typing in a frenzy. And to be very honest, it happens like that with me too. So my inspiration usually is a super cute and very hot man, since I write romances, who says something or looks a certain way, and for instance, Ben Devar, who is the hero of The Worst Daughter Ever, was actually based on Ben Solo, as played by Adam Driver in the new Star Wars trilogy, and and there was Prince Harry or Captain America inspired one of my books too. And the truth is, when I saw these men move and act or say something, it really inspired me to go and write like entire books for them, like 80,000, 90,000 word books for them in some kind of fever dream in like days actually. But then there's also other times when when being a writer, when being this writer meant scrapping close to 1 million words of a particular book because the story was just not working for me. There were 19 drafts of the same book. Well, inspiration did not strike me and my muse did not talk to me. The words absolutely dried up. Now, this is not disciplined writing. And this is like, it's not sustainable because these processes are not sustainable to a businesswoman or a product creator, which is just a fancy way of calling myself a storyteller, which is what I am actually. And to be very honest, all of this struck home to me just this year in 2022, when finally the last after effects of the pandemic left me personally, and I actually started to assess how I really truly wanted to run my life and my business. Now, as Alexander already said, the first thing to do was acknowledge that the only thing that was within my control, which is my life and my business. So, for that to happen, I had to stop regretting the things that I haven't done or accomplished yet, like hitting all the New York Times bestseller list, or like having like 3 movies made out of my books, which has happened to like so many people, like they've had their books. Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman has had like 5 super insanely successful shows, and here I'm comparing myself to him when he's had like a 45-year career, and I'm like in year 4 of my amazing career. So the truth is that I could not regret the things that I haven't done or accomplished in the great mythical What If film. And the other thing is that routine and discipline are actually anathema to me. I hate being, sort of following a routine or being disciplined, because I'm the original rebel who hated offices and wearing boring outfits, including but not limited to school uniforms, and working according to someone else's schedule. I was a nightmare student. I'm so sorry, all of the adults and moms over here. I'm probably going to be a bad influence on your children when I say that. But the truth is that this is not a good way to live life. Kids, please understand why you need to go to school and college and like do stuff that we all of us had to do, because all of this so-called rebellion of mine did not make me a successful businesswoman at all. Okay, it made me shitloads of money, because what ended up happening was that somehow in the span of 4 years, which is from 2018 to right now, I ended up publishing close to 30 books, and they made me shitloads of money because the stories that I told connected with a very large audience, and it gave me lifelong gratitude and appreciation to the people who buy my books, so I can pay my bills by doing the one thing I really want to do, which is tell stories. But again, this whole thing of like writing books either too fast or too slow or releasing them randomly is it's not sustainable, because it's not what I it's not if I want to do this for the next 60 to 70 years. Like Nora Roberts is 72 years old. She started writing in 1985, and she releases 4 books a year even now. Now that's discipline, and that's fantastic, and it's inspirational, and that's exactly what I want to do. Like when I am 70, I still want to be writing like this and telling all these stories and like entertaining people. So yeah, I was like sort of blundering about trying to figure out the questions to all the answers to all these questions that were suddenly starting to pop up in my head when, magic struck, as it sometimes does when you're the heroine of your own story, like I decided that I was going to be. I finally stumbled upon this blog post that Ms. Roberts had written about how she built her own life with her own routine and her own schedule, and how it worked for her. Her routine is insane. She gets up at 8 o'clock. She gets up at 6 every morning. I cannot. But she gets up at 6 every morning. She sits down to write at 8 o'clock, and she writes till 4 p.m. every single day. After that, she goes to work out. She has, she makes dinner. She cleans up the house and everything. And it was insane, because here's this woman. She's like so much older than me. She's like one of the senior most writers in the industry of writing, and she is still doing this. Stephen King, by the way, also says this. He says that inspiration, you can't wait for inspiration to strike you. You have to sit down and put the words to the keyboard or to the paper. And I used to always scoff at these people, because I'd be like, how can you do that? You have to be inspired in order to write. And while, yeah, that's true, the truth is that you can also make your inspiration work for you. You can also make it so that your inspiration does strike you. Maybe not at 8 a.m. every day. I wake up at 9 a.m. every day, so I can't do that. But you can make sure that it actually shows up for you when you need it to. And that's where routine and discipline and cultivating the writing muscle and cultivating the business muscle really started paying off for me. Because the first thing that I did was I started to expand my curiosity on how I could apply what I'd seen or heard from that blog post for myself. And I don't really need to be Nora Roberts and to like have that kind of awesome schedule or awesome life with an entire town that she founded in order to be disciplined and creative at the same time. Because the truth is that discipline, routine, boring. Creativity, storytelling, writing books, interesting. So how do you bring the two together? Uh, that's the question that we all of us keep grappling in this industry, in my business, in the business of writing romances, and in the business of storytelling in general. So I mean, you don't really. I realize that you don't really need to be Nora freaking Roberts in order for me to do all of this. I could start right now. So the first thing what it did mean was that I had to stop comparing myself to someone else's journey and their milestones, which, believe me, happens almost every time I log in on social media and I see somebody else doing something fabulous, writing something fabulous, hitting one of the lists, or like making X amount of money. And it's not easy to just hold yourself still and accountable and say, no, that's not my journey. But it is very key to disciplining yourself. So disciplining my thoughts was the most important thing that I began at. I had to stop competing with all these people who are my peers and whom I absolutely adore and cherish with all my heart. I actually even had to stop comparing or competing with my own past or future versions of me. So past versions of me used to write books in like 5 days, and or in like 2 years, which also happened, and sometimes 19 years, which also happened. And there are like future versions of me where I think, oh, I can write a book in like a day or so, because I know that Charlotte Lamb, who is a very senior romance writer, she's written, I think she wrote like 500 Milton Boone romances in her career. She's dead now. Uh, she wrote a book on a long weekend, like from Thursday to Sunday. She wrote like a 55,000 word book in that time. And it's like, it's impossible to like imagine all of these things, and it's a lovely thing to imagine. But what it does is that it corrodes productivity and it takes me away from my discipline and my routine at the moment. It is impossible, but the only way for discipline, or at least for me, to stick in my daily habits and in my routine is to actually make it joyful, which only happens when I'm in flow. So being in flow means that I actually accept where I am right now, regardless of where I am right now. And some days it's at word zero, and in some days it's like I don't want to write and I don't want to be a writer. And in some days it's like there are so many social media posts to do, but you have to accept where you are right now, and that helps me being in flow. Because what it does is, once I've accepted where I am, then all it needs for me to do is to take the next steps towards where I want to go. It's really that simple. It's not that easy, but it really is that simple. Because what happens is when I'm in flow, I'm able to remember and I'm able to remind myself how much this dream actually means to me, how much I actually wanted to be R.T.V. Raman, romance writer, for a very, very long time. And what a privilege it is to be able to do this every single day. So the point is to establish this mindset actually every single day, even now, even today. And once it gets established as firmly as I can make it, then it became easy for me to start practicing it in all aspects of my life. Whether it was planning my writing schedule, my scary writing schedule till 2031, or doing marketing, as the writers say, which we don't like doing. All writers are like, we suck at marketing, we suck at talking about our books, and or putting up social media posts or networking or talking about my books all day long, because writers are not apparently supposed to talk about our art. Art is sacred, you're not supposed to talk about it. Or this is the best part. I used to hate math when I was in school. I would like beg from not having to do math assignments. And now I sit and I do sales projections. And I actually sat and I filed my taxes this year all by myself without anybody's help. And like, numbers were not really my best friend, but I'm able to bring myself to flow and find joy in numbers, because I can remind myself that this discipline is going to help me achieve my eventual dream. So the truth is that this joy has actually trickled into all other aspects of my life too. I'm actually kinder to my family. I don't snap at them so much. I'm kinder to myself. I'm kinder to my own body, because I wake up and I sleep on a schedule, except for the nights when I'm actually staying awake, reading a book, which is the only time I'm allowed to stay awake till like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. I sometimes when I'm on my period, I take those 3 days off, because this business is women friendly and we are okay with period days. And I'm sort of hoping that this joy also translates to finally working out on a regular basis, because I spend so much time sitting on my butt, just like, writing or working on my other stuff for the business. And also socializing like I did before the pandemic. So yeah, these are the ways that I'm trying to allow discipline and routine to sort of sneak into my life. Because once I allowed the joy, or the idea of joy and of being in flow, to permeate all aspects of my life, then discipline and routine were not my enemy anymore. they are the two supports on which I build my future empire. They are they are the things that I use in order to run my business, especially on the days when I really don't want to work on it. And they are the reason why my dreams are coming true for me every single day. Because the truth is, like, my discipline and my routine is not going to be the same as Nora Roberts, or it's not going to be the same as Virat Kohli's, and it's not going to be the same as the next writer who's writing the next book, just like I am. But the truth is, it works for me, and that's what's important. And if, as long as I can stick to it, and then I can do things that I probably couldn't do maybe in 6 months or 10 years or any number, because discipline does make your dream work. Because they did for me, and I'm hoping that if it happens for somebody like me who's like the original rebel without a cause for no reason, then it could do for you also. I mean, I hope it does. And that's the idea that I really wanted to share with you guys, that I'm still a work in progress, but I really think that discipline does make the dream work. Like, teamwork makes the dream work. And that's the end of my speech. I cannot talk longer than this.
Lovely, Aarti. I always enjoy listening to your speech. It never, tires me out. You really are an inspiration, Aarti. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure. Aarti, we have a couple of questions that have popped up on the chat room. So are you open to them?
Oh, yeah, sure. No worries. Yeah, absolutely.
You do have a lot of compliments that you can read later, but a couple of questions have popped up on my chat room. Okay, the first thing they asked was, what is discipline that you define it to be?
Okay, so for me, discipline is basically anything that I can do. There are two kinds of discipline, okay? One is the bare minimum that I need to do every day. For instance, wake up at 9 o'clock, go to sleep at 12:30 in the night, unless I'm reading a book, which I will always keep talking about because reading books is the best thing ever. Wake up at 9 o'clock, have my lunch on time, which is helping me reduce weight without me exercising. Eating healthy food, again, another thing, not so much junk food. Getting adequate fresh air, which is important again. Spending time with family. These are all the little things, they're like the bare minimums that I have to do. And like, of course, chores and stuff at home. Work wise or like writing wise, the discipline is something that I'm still trying to figure out. But it mostly means sitting down to work at a set time, whatever the time may be. Like, I'm trying to bring it up to about 11:30 in the morning. Currently, it's between 11:30 and 12:30, and then I work till like 9 or 10 in the night. Some days I'm writing, other days I'm doing marketing. I have a set day. I have a set day of the week where I actually sit and just do all of the business admin marketing work that I need to do, because I'm still a one-woman show who's doing everything all by herself. So yeah, so that's the bare minimum. The maximum is when I'm like, okay, I have a goal of writing a book in 5 days, and somehow or the other, without compromising on my food or sleep or quality of life, I will somehow manage to do that. Not happened yet, but when it does, I'll come and tell you guys.
It's always work in progress when it comes to discipline, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I especially love the weight loss part. Ask me. With late nights now, yeah, it matters. Okay, another second question. Is meeting deadlines is one way you define it to be disciplined?
Actually, you know what? I used to think the deadlines freaked me out, but Vaijanti will be very happy to know this, that I actually pushed up the deadline to my new release, Blaze. It's supposed to come out on 31st August, which means that the book has to go to print on 27th August. And I'm at the last 4 chapters right now because, yeah, deadlines really do work for me. But that's because my brain is computed to to process and enjoy the fact that I'm on deadline. And the thing is that I was actually writing a couple of things in the middle of writing this particular book, so that's there too. But at the same time, I don't really want to kill myself with deadlines anymore, because I've done that in the past. It really does not help, because you end up getting burnt out and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's again a balance. But yeah, usually if I give myself like an elasticy deadline, it kind of works. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. This question is the first one that popped up. I thought I should keep it till the last. That one is,
Okay.
how do you think inspiration and discipline are linked? As because we spoke about a lot about inspiration and then said how it leads to your discipline. So are they actually linked?
Uh, okay. Again, this is something that I'm working on right now, but this is something I'm also learning about myself. But I think if visual, oral, which is audible cues, as well as you know, um, somebody just wrote they want to have me on their talk show. She's talking about me or you, Vajanti? I'm confused. Anyway,
Oh, she's
sorry.
definitely talking about you, not about me.
All right. So I think for me, again, I need to get into flow in order for inspiration to strike me. So what happens is that I plug in my music because music is the most important mood setter for me. I also paint my nails. They're currently not painted right now. So, but like when I paint my nails, it's a cue. I cut my nails and then I paint them. So that's the cue where I'm like, okay, we are ready to get into business, baby. I also, end up prettifying myself a lot more. Otherwise, I look like a jungle cat. This is not how I usually look. By the way, I've worn makeup after I think months. So that's there. So there are these small things, and of course, I end up watching my whichever is the hot man of the month, hot man of the moment that I have to watch. I'm currently watching Simon, the Duke of Hastings from Bridgerton, who is my inspiration for the new book. So I just have to see him for like 5-10 minutes or whatever. And then usually stuff just starts working for me. Other times, inspiration does mean that I have to let my brain wander off while I go and watch other things, or I read a book, or I talk to my family. And sometimes I just curse myself because I'm like, why am I not writing? I should be writing. So it depends. But usually, what happens is if I'm occupying my brain enough, the inspiration that really needs to come if I'm stuck in a scene, it comes out. I'm able to problem solve for the plot or whatever it is that's bugging me, and it happens. I start writing again. Inspiration comes back. The discipline would be to know the difference between the two, wherein which days do you need your everyday cues and stuff, and which days do you really need your brain to wander off and play for itself. So, yeah, that would be the discipline. And hopefully become better at at shortening the distances between the two, so that the writer's block don't go on forever, which also happens, which did happen with this book, which everybody has been telling me I need to release. It's been 3 months since I left everybody on a cliffhanger. So that okay.
Maybe you should give me a sneak peek into what happens to it so I can have a cool night.
Maybe I will as soon as I'm done with writing it, of course.
Okay, I have one more question that has just come up. What do you do for fun?
Something, I actually believe that adage which says that if you need a vacation from your life, you need a different life. So for me, work is fun. I love my job. I think it's the best part of me that I get to do it. Because I am okay. Here's the thing: I understand that I'm super privileged that I am getting to do it, but I also know how hard I've worked in order to reach this place wherein if I want to take a 3-hour nap in the middle of a work day, I can do it, and my friends can't because they're working for someone else. But I have also had like 15 years of sleepless nights because I would write books in the middle of the night. uh, where I would write in the middle of the night when I was actually working my day job and I was a journalist and an editor. So that's there too. Specifically for fun, I think I watch movies, I hang out with some of my friends, I talk to my other writer friends. I don't particularly do anything. Sleep is my favorite activity in the whole world. Like in the whole world, I would sleep like I would sleep. That's all I would do. So if I do anything for fun, I guess it's probably sleeping. I'm not a cool person. I'm like very uncool that way.
Oh, you are definitely cool. Ask us about it.
I
Okay,
don't
last
feel very
question
cool when I
before-
say. All right. Oh my God, there's so many questions. I'm so excited. Okay.
Yeah, I have one last question that
Sure.
says, do you think discipline is set when you form a habit or follow a timetable?
I don't know. I don't know. For me, I don't even think of it in terms of habits and timetables and stuff like that. Although I do have a schedule, but my schedule also changes on a whim. Like it depends on the things on what I need from on what the day needs from me or what I need from the day. That's there too. But at the same time, I would say this that the more you do something every single day, the better you get at it, and the better you feel about doing it. It's like, I mean, it's the same thing about working out. Like, I've heard it from everybody who's ever worked out. They're like, it's shitty and it's boring and you don't want to do it for the first 30 days, but then on the 31st day you're like, why am I not working out? My body craves it. It's stuff like that. So it is that. But I think also for me personally, it's about finding the joy. So it's not so much about time, it's about joy. So what habit gives me joy, and what joy I can find from the habit, from the discipline of having the
Shloka,
habit, would be, would be the best and ideal um uh discipline and habit that I would be most inclined to follow. So yeah, that. This is really fun though. I mean, wow, you guys have some interesting questions that are making me think too.
thank you so much, Arati. It was really lovely having you and chatting with you like this. We should meet up sometime.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to meet you. You've always been such an ardent supporter of my books and my writing, and it's lovely. So, thank you for inviting me back, because I remember we done this during the peak of the pandemic. We done it with the kids, I think, and now to be
Yes,
back
yes.
here is like, wow. I feel very honored and I feel very privileged, because it's always nice to be called back, to know that you have some returning value. So that feels very nice.
Thank you, Arti. Now I just call on Srujan.
What a scintillating and enthralling speech. Thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, that is once again Arti. Please another round of applause. Now I hand over the stage back to the master of ceremonies, Sloka.
Thank you, Shrujan. Instead of a standard travel log of a travel destination advertised by travel agents, we have put a must-see destinations from Indian perspectives. Now, it is time to explore India. So please kick off your shoes, grab a cup of coffee or some tea. So as we discover the majestic and mysterious India through the eyes of Yuvika, who's a ninth grader from Intelli School and enjoys reading and swimming. Please put your hands together for Yuvika. Yuvika, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sloka. Are you all ready to travel? Let's get started. India has been called the land of mystery since time immemorial, whether for its various enigmatic natural phenomena or eccentricities associated with its religions and culture. And while science has worked hard to debunk and find a logical reason behind every riddle, there still remains some that give rationalists a run for their money. Here are some of modern India's most puzzling aspects that are bound to make your eyes pop. Since India is a huge country and also aptly called a semi continent, we have decided to make this journey across India easy. So we have broken this segment over four period of 4 days. Today we shall be looking into North India. The North India comprises of Jammu, Kashmir, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Delhi, Haryana, Uttarakhand, and Uttar Pradesh. Let's begin with the enchanting hills of Ladakh. Have more than mere beauty to offer. The magnetic hill, located at 11,000 feet above sea level, is one of the most unusual places to visit in India. The cars driving up the hill get pulled up on their own accord. This is one can drive up here with the vehicle's ignition turned off. From Ladakh, we travel across to an elevation of 16,970 feet to the Kongala La Pass. It's one of the least accessed place in India, owing to the fact that it is a distributed territory between India and China. But that's not what makes it the most mysterious place. The mysterious thing about Kongala La Pass is a number of UFOs as well as strange figures of humanoids have been sighted there. According to many reports, so much that the locals living there strongly believe that the area is home to aliens. From aliens to holy flame of Jwalaji Temple. Jwalaji Temple is a holy shrine located to the lower Himalayas in Kangra district, typical of the other Jwalaji shrines in the country. Why then is it listed among the mysterious places in India? Is another matter altogether. The center pit of a hollowed stone inside the shrine holds a flame that has been burning endlessly for over 100 years. The flame is burning of supply of natural gases like methane under its surface. Let's go from lower Himalaya to upper and deeper. The snow-capped peaks hide mysteries in plenty. One mystery that stands out from the rest of the mysteries of the city of immortal beings known by several names such as Gyanganj, Shambhala, Siddhasham, etc. It is believed that this place hides from sight of modern mapping technologies by camouflaging itself or its existence in different dimensions altogether. However, according to legends, the immortal beings who live here not only influence the proceeding of the world in subtle ways, but also guard several secrets, spiritual teachings of all religions. Does this remind you of the Kamar Taj from Dr. Saints? See, we Indians have also contributed in the multiverse of Marvel. From Himalaya, let's travel to a suspense-filled glacier lake. Not a Lake Placid but the Lake Rupkund Lake is a glacier lake located at an elevation of 16,500 feet in the most god-forsaken place in Himalaya. But its remote and dangerous location has got nothing to do with the gloom and despair associated with the lake. It is what lies beneath it that scares daylight out of most of the people. Around 300, 600 skeletons can be seen beneath the surface of the frozen Rupkund lake. Every year, when the ice melts, radiocarbon tests and frozen dates corpse back to 15th century AD. The locals believe that the corpse belonged to then king and queen of Kanuji, who were going to pilgrimage but plunged into the lake due to several hailstorms and died. But this is not proven yet. From skeletons to the capital of India, New Delhi. New Delhi, the iron pillar of Delhi, Kriti Stamba. On first appearance, it doesn't look like much. A 22-foot tall iron pillar, slowly rusting away in the middle of an empty square in Delhi. The surprise comes in learning at its age. It is somewhere around 1,600 years old, much older than one would expect for an iron column, which, judging from other exposed iron, should have turned into pile of dust long ago. It was the enigma which led to some people include the iron Ashoka pillar in a group of objects known as OOPRs, or the out of place artifacts. Now, let's quickly move to the state to our next stop, Uttar Pradesh. Time immemorial. Love carved stones. Our travel is incomplete without the mention of the Taj Mahal. The Mahal built by Shah Jahan for his love Mumtaz Begum. But was the Taj Mahal actually a mausoleum? But originally a Hindu temple dedicated to Shiva. After Surajmal, a Hindu king conquered Agra in 1761. A court priest is said to have suggested to convert the Taj into a temple. P.N. who found an institute for rewriting Indian history in 1964, said in a book that the Taj Mahal was indeed a Shiva temple. But historian Rana Safi told the BBC that there is no question of restating the history of the Taj Mahal and that there is no evidence a temple over existed on that site. Shah Jahan obviously officially bought the Hawaii from him and officially farman or order was issued by this and it still exists. The farman also shows that the Mughals were very particular about recording their deeds and histories. She said, this is okay, so now this one is open for debate. Since we are on the topic of Mughals and Nawabs, let's travel across to the land of Nawabs, Lucknow. Lucknow it has number of attractions to keep you executing for days. And one such spot is the gravity defying palace. It might sound like an exaggeration, but that is the fact, believe it or not. This palace that defines the concept of gravity is a major crowded pillar in Lucknow. It is also called as the Bada Imamra, which when translated to English is the big shrine. Not to forget, the palace truly satisfies its name, built by the fourth Nawab Barak Imaba Asuf ud Daula. This majestic structure brings together Arabic and European architectural excellence. As per legends, this place was built by more than 2 lakh workers, and myth has it that ordinary laborers used to work during the daytime, and the constructors side, whereas the countries and the other workers used to work in the morning. The palace was built by more than 2 lakh workers, and a myth has its ordinary use. So the laborers used to work at the daytime, and the other workers used to work during the night. I hope so. Now this is the end of my speech. So I hope you enjoy the sheer thrill that comes from hearing and seeing the mysteries. Now it is time to we gear up for the next session. Let me hand the mic to our master of ceremony, Sloka. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yuvika, for the truly mysterious journey of Northern India. I'm sure you all enjoyed and relaxed through the journey. The people who are on pins and needles are our contestants. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the time for the Agoracon, the annual international speech contest. To conduct this contest, we have a very able 11th grader from Oak Ridge International School. She is an amateur baker and a budding artist. Please put your hands together for the contest master, Kritika. Kritika, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Shloka. I, Kritika, your contest master, welcomes all Agorians and guests to the third Agoracon Educational Speech Contest. Every year in Agora, we recognize the best speakers from our membership. The way our contests are structured, as well as our contest rulebook, represent our vision for public speaking as a tool that enables leaders to achieve their goals and effect a positive change in the world. You will see that we don't have a generalistic speaking contest because for us, public speaking is a means to a goal, but not an end in itself. Today, the contestants will be judged by the Chief Judge, Mike Nicholson, and he will be assisted by his team of judges. We have two timers, Rayan and Hita, and tally counter, Kundan Shragvi. We have five contestants competing today. The contestant speaking order has been drawn. To be eligible, a contestant must be a registered member of the Agora Speakers International Foundation and be an active member of an officially registered club. Now, I request the audience to keep your videos turned on and microphones muted. The contestant speech order has already been drawn. It will be revealed when we call the contestants in that speech order when the contest begins. I request you all to turn on your video when your name is called. Remember, the contestants are called now in the alphabetical order for the the judges to identify the contestants with their respective names. Dr. Gary Tho, Japesh Medisani, Jose Adrian, Josephine N. Indraswari, Tracy Kong. Your timing begins.
Kritika, can you please repeat the names slowly so Sanjay Pratnesh can spotlight them?
Okay, ma'am, sure.
Hi.
Dr. Gary Tho, Japesh Medisani, Jose Adrian, Josephine N. Indraswari, Tracy Kong.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
Your timing begins when you make your first utterance, a communication gesture, or automatically after you have been on the stage for the specified preparation time. You will have 8 to 10 minutes to present your speech. The timing lights will be activated as follows: green light at 8 minutes, yellow light at 9 minutes, red light at 10 minutes, and black light at 10 minutes 30 seconds. The black light will then stay on until you have finished speaking. No other notice will be given to indicate that you have gone over time. You will be disqualified if your speech is more than 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Once you have finished, please turn off your video and mute your microphone. The next contestant needs to turn on the video and unmute the microphone. We will then have 1 minute silence for the judges to record their scores and for the next contestant to prepare. I would like to wish you all the best of luck. Now we have 5 minutes silence for the contestants to get ready. You can now check your audio and video.
Sanjay Pratnesh, can you please unmute all the contestants? And Ryan, can you please show all the four timings? Kunda, Kritika, can you please repeat the timings?
The timing lights will be activated as follows: green light at 8 minutes, yellow light at 9 minutes, red light at 10 minutes, black light at 10 minutes 30 seconds.
Thank you.
And dear contestants, this is the time you can have your audio video check.
Sure. Can everyone hear me this loud?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you.
Am I audible
can't-
to everyone here?
Yes, you're also audible. Sanjay Pradesh, can you please remove the spotlight so we, in case the contestants want to check their videos, we will be able to help them out.
Yep. I think my video is okay. Just as I'm having a look here.
You look good, Gary.
Thank you.
Jose and Japesh, please test your video.
Am I audible?
Am I audible and visible to everyone?
Yes. Good, good, good.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good.
Can everyone hear me?
Who is that?
Josephine?
Josephine. Yeah, you are good. You are good.
All right, thank you.
Look at the camera when you speak, yeah? Look at the camera. Very good.
Benping, I guess so. We have one contestant missing.
Who is that? No, all are here.
I see Gary, Jose, Josephine, and Japesh. Aren't they five?
No, there's a girl from China. She was here. Yeah.
Hi, I'm
Tracy
Tracy
is here.
Kong.
Tracy is here.
Ah,
Tracy.
okay.
Good luck to you.
Okay,
to
because
everyone.
Tracy, I request you to please put contest in front of your name so it becomes easy for us to spotlight you or to recognize you.
Okay.
Contestant,
5 minutes are
do you know how to pin the timer screen so they can see the timing?
Our 5 minutes are up for the contestants. So are we ready to start the contest?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi.
Kritika, you can please take over.
Can I start?
Yes, Kritika, you can start.
Welcome
It's my
back.
turn, right?
Welcome back. So we are all set to begin the first speech contest, educational speech. For better viewing, I request the judges and the audience to keep your screens on speaker view. Our first contestant is Tracy Kong. You have 1 minute to check your audio and video.
Okay. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, Tracy, you're audible.
Okay, can I start?
You have 1 minute. So when the timer indicates 1 minute, then we have the script that we follow. Then we will tell you, indicate the time to start.
Okay.
Tracy Kong, can you see the timer?
Yeah, I can see the time.
Have you pinned the timer?
What?
Have you pinned? Oh, the timer is spotlighted already. Okay. Please repeat after me. I am going to succeed.
I'm going to succeed.
I confirm that I can hear you and see you clearly. Tracy
I
Kong.
confirm. I confirm I
No,
can
no,
see you
you
and
only had
hear
to
you.
No, no, you only had to repeat, I am going to succeed.
I'm going to be succeed.
I confirm that I can hear you and see you clearly. Tracy Kong, your topic is Flying to the Sea of Stars. Flying to the Sea of Stars, Tracy Kong. We will now have 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark the ballot and for the next contestant. No. Tracy Kong, your topic is Flying to the Sea of Stars. Flying to the Sea of Stars, Tracy Kong. I
Yeah.
hand over the stage to you.
You can start, Tracy, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I can start, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tracy, and I'm pleased to stand here to share the spirit of the space flight with all the members in Agora. And the reason I share this topic is it makes me brave and makes me dare to try and make progress. The topic of my speech is flying to the sea of stars. I believe that when we were little, we all have some funny imaginations. We all wanted to know what's the moon look like. Could there be Chang'e, Yutu, or Uncle Wugang on it? When I was a primary school student, I was longed to fly to the moon like Chang'e and see the moon palace. And I thought that only the immortals could swim in the universe. And when I was a high school student, I dreamed of being able to sit in a spaceship and travel around the fascinating space, looking for planets suitable for human existence and building our new home there. There's no exhaust gas from automobiles, no sewage from factories, no pollution, and the scenery is full of wind and sunshine. The aerospace technology has always been an emerging field that any country must pay attention to. It plays an important role in our exploration of space and unknown areas. In today's society, air supremacy has become a hot issue, and the deeper level is the right to space and space. With the advancement technology, China's aerospace technology has opened a new chapter from scratch, from weak to strong, and the dream of flying in the sky pursued by the ancients has gradually come true. China's aerospace industry development and innovation are connected with us. For Chinese people, China's aerospace industry is romantic. The romance in the name. China's lunar exploration project is called Chang'e. And do you know the story of Chang'e running to the moon? Okay, let me tell you. It is said that in the ancient times, there was a powerful hero named Hou Yi. His wife, Chang'e, is a kind woman. One day, the Queen Mother gave Hou Yi a fairy medicine, and one day, due to the forced helplessness, his wife, Chang'e, took this medicine and then flew to the moon. When his husband came back, he couldn't find his wife, and he looked into the sky and he found that there was a rabbit named Yu Tu jumping around under the tree, and he saw his wife nearby. And the villagers missed the kite woman so much. So they put her favorite food in the yard and placed her far away. Since then, August 15 has become a mid-autumn festival that people are looking forward to reunion in China. It's an interesting story, right? So, China's first lunar rover was called Yu-Tu, Sky Probe Beidou, and so on. The romance of inheritance and the romance of improving our knowledge about space. For our country, 52 years ago, China successfully launched its first man-made satellite, Dongfanghong No. 1, opening the door to the universe. And from Dongfanghong No. 1 to Shenzhou, Changzheng, Chang'e, and so on, China's speed and miracle are impressive. Over the past 50 years, remarkable achievements have been made in China's aerospace industry. Going to the sea of stars has always been a dream of human beings. Yes, our President Xi has said the space dream is part of the dream to make China stronger. And the success of China's aerospace industry has opened a new path of self-reliance, boosted the development, and enhanced national strength. It also created the spirit of the space flights. Yes, this leads to my next point, space spirits. Dear Mr. Qian Xuesen, Qian Sanqiang, and many other outstanding scientists have used their wisdom to build a ladder to the universe and used their lives to create a palace of the space flights. And what is behind it? Is China's space spirit. Hardworking, dedication, innovation, and so on. Back to our life, these spirits are extremely important to us, which can not only help us to overcome difficulties, challenge ourselves, but also let us know how to shoulder the responsibility of our society. And my dream is to be a lawyer in the future. And I believe this spirit can help me a lot and achieve my dream in the future. On the road of pursuing dreams, each time is a new journey and a new challenge. Of course, the unprecedented challenge also creates the unprecedented heights. China's aerospace industry, from a difficult start to arduous journey, and then to brilliant achievement, has left behind China's footprint and shadow in the vast space, and has left behind the strength and spirit in the development of the space industry. And I believe if we all keep in mind with this spirit, we can get a great progress in the future. And remember, the times waits for no one. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is mystery. And today is a gift. So we need to make the most of today. So make a little bit progress every day. That's all. Thank you.
We will now have 1 minute of silence for judges to mark the ballot and for the next contestant, Gary Tho, to check audio and video connections.
Okay, good. Audio working? Ah. Okay.
Gary Tho, can you see the timer?
Uh, yes. Sorry. Yes, I can see the timer. Now I just need to see where my screen went.
Please repeat after me. I am going to succeed.
Uh, sorry, can you just give me a minute? I need to figure out why this was not sharing.
Okay, sure.
And where my stop share button has gone. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. All set.
Okay. Please repeat after me. I am going to succeed.
I'm going to succeed.
I confirm that I can hear you and see you clearly. Gary Tho, your topic is Live More Limitless. Over to you.
I'll invite you to reminisce for a moment. Maybe 5 years ago. Think about 5 years ago. Was there something that you could do then that you can't do now? Maybe it's just something that you are not so proficient at, not as good as now compared to 5 years ago. Or maybe it's something that you wish you could do now because you love doing it, but for whatever reason, you just can't do it anymore. If you can think of something like that, do you mind just raising your hands for a moment? Thank you. So 5 years ago, I met a lovely lady, and no, it wasn't my wife. A client came into my office. She was married, had 2 kids, but she also had a lot of headaches, a lot of neck pains, some dizziness. She was just struggling to sleep at night. There was a lot of work stress, and she really didn't know what was going on and what to do. So I went through an assessment. We figured out what was going on, and we even began the treatment. And after that, she was like much more relieved. But she did ask me this question. She said, "What caused this? Why am I in such a state?" And I was just thinking, well, I wanted to ask you exactly the same thing. What happened and why did it get to this bad, this critical point right now? And she just says, "I don't know." Anyway, she walked out the door, and when she went out to the reception desk, her husband quickly pulled me aside, closed the door, and whispered, "Can you help my wife? Can you actually help her?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, right now it looks really promising. We discussed what we need to discuss. She seems pretty happy. But may I ask why you're asking this?" And he said, "Because she's not the person I married. I don't recognize her anymore. She's moody, she's angry, she's yelling at the kids every day. Sometimes I don't even know what for. I don't know how much more of this I can stand." And frankly, is putting such a big strain on our relationship. Wow. But you know what? In the last 15 years that I've been doing what I've been doing, I realized that this lady is not the only person. You see, a lot of people are making this simple mistake. And because they're making this mistake, they're starting to live less and limit more. Let me show you what this mistake is. So right now, most people think that it is a straight line from where they're at now to where they are in the future. However, most people understand that there's such thing as depreciation, or there's such thing as degeneration, or there's such thing as just a downfall where $1,000 now may not be the same as $1,000 in 5 years' time. Most people also realize that age catches up with them and things start to degenerate and fall apart and deteriorate. And this is actually the natural progression. And unfortunately, if we don't start to recognize whether we are on the red line, below the line, or here, just at neutral, then what's going to happen is over time, we're going to fall and we're not even going to notice the small little changes that are happening. And we'll only notice it when we get down here and we go, what? How did I even get into this state in the first place? There is, though, another line. We could always go this way. Looks good, looks easy. Unfortunately, this takes a lot of work and most people don't go that path. And the reason is because they play small. What do I mean? Imagine right now, if you could do this much activity, this much sports, this much chores at home, and over time you keep doing it and you realize, oh wait, it's getting more than my capacity to cope. So I'm just going to do less and less and less and less and less and less and less. And they keep on doing less and play small until this line possibly joins with this one. And honestly, they really hope they die before that happens. Unfortunately for my late grandmother, she didn't. I watched her decline. I watched her struggle to even get out of bed. And she's one of those people that had to play small because she had no choice. So the question is, how do we get up to that green line? How do we start to build and take little steps now so that instead of trying to go from down the bottom and struggle to get back up, we can continue to go up. And in 5 years, if I asked you the exact same question, what could you do in 5 years ago that you can't do now? And your answer would be, what do you mean? I can do everything. In fact, I feel healthier, happier, more alive, more energetic than I have in my entire life. And this is exactly what I want for everybody, to be able to feel great so that they can live more and limit less. So how do we go about doing that? There are a few different ways, but I'd like to share with you a method that I've developed over many years. It's called Release, Realign, Renew. There's 3 steps to this process, and it requires 3 different parts of our body. Well, our body itself, our mind, and our emotion. And if we're able to create these parts, put them together and create habits, that's what's going to sustain our future. Now, the first step in this series is to release. We need to start taking away pressure, stress. We have so many thoughts running through our head every day. Unfortunately, most of them are negative. And also, most of them are repetitive every single day. So how do we clear that? We got to still our mind. One of the easiest ways I found is just through breath work. And I'd like to teach you something I call 4-6-2. It's a still breath, but I'm going to add a little bit of movement because sometimes we need to release the blockages within our body itself, the tension, the stress that's accumulated, both mentally and physically. So if you'd like to join me, we're going to go through a simple process of breathing in for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 6, and then pausing for 2. And we're going to add this little movement. It's going to go something like this. We're going to breathe in. We're going to raise our hands right up overhead, stretch up right behind our head for 4 counts. We're going to breathe out as we squeeze our hands backwards behind our body And then when we get down to the bottom, we're going to just pause for 2. All right, here we go. 3 breaths. Take a breath in. Breathe out. Squeeze your back, squeeze your upper body. And that was our pause for 2. Let's do that again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Squeeze the upper back, squeeze the upper body. And pause for 2. One more. Breath in. Breathe out. And that was our pause for 2. And the moment that we pause, we find that stillness, we focus on our breath, we focus on what's happening in our body, we immediately still our mind, we get out of a lot of the fight, flight, a lot of the stress response thinking, and we can start to make the right choices. And that becomes the next step. We need to start to realign ourselves. What does that mean? That means making decisions based on what we want. We have to set an intention. If we really want to feel great, do more, enjoy life in 5 years' time, then we need to set that intention. And then every single decision that we make needs to be based on that. So if I were to ask you, are all your habits like watching the next episode of Netflix or binging on your favorite foods, is that going to help you to achieve that goal? And if it's not, we need to start making decisions that will, so that when we live in this alignment, we can start to achieve our goals, and we're going to start to build every step of that way along the green line. And before we know it, we're going to be feeling amazing. Of course, that last step is going to be renew. Why? Because we need to start to do things differently. We need to renew ourselves. If we've made that intention, if we've used our heart to go, this is my dream, this is what I want for my future, then the last part is our hands, our action. We need to start to take action. So one easy thing you can do is just look at your life, from your sleep to your nutrition, your movement, self-esteem, life, enjoyment, whatever it is. Look through all of these different aspects of your life and rate them from 0 to 10. 10 being great, 0 not very good. And then ask yourself, what could you do for one area only to raise it up a notch? So if you rated something at 4, how do we get it to a 5? Or if you rate something at a 7, how do we get it to an 8? If we keep developing all of these little habits, these little things along the way, we're definitely going to be able to live more and limit less. And in 5 years' time, you'll be unstoppable.
We will now have 1 minute of silence for judges to mark their ballot, and for the next contestant, Josephine and Indraswari, to check for audio and video connections.
Test. And everyone can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you.
Josephine and Indraswari, can you see the timer?
Yes.
Please repeat after me. I am going to succeed.
I'm going to succeed.
I confirm that I can hear you and see you clearly. Josephine and Indraswari, your topic is Unsung Heroes from the Ocean. Over to you.
Imagine you're out in nature. You can feel the cool breeze that swept your face as you close. You take a deep breath. The air feels fresh. You smiled, and a flood of gratitude filled your mind as you think to yourself, I am alive thanks to the trees. Feels wonderful, isn't it? Contest master, judges, friends, you are wrong. You're not alive because of the trees. You are alive because of the ocean. Because trees are an important part of the Earth ecosystem. But lurking in the waters of our planet are lives that we probably should honor more than the trees. Let me introduce you to phytoplankton. Phytoplankton is the name for photosynthetic microorganisms that live in watery environments. The word plankton means drifters or wanderer and refers to their inability to swim against a current. Now, phytoplankton are the ones that photosynthesize. That's why they're often known as plant-like planktons. Usually, phytoplanktons are invisible to the naked eye. But you can be sure they're there when a population boom occurs and the water gets colored up like this. Scientists call this phenomenon algae blooms, which happens when there is an abundance of nutrients in the water. Some algae blooms are not harmful, but others can be harmful. The reason is because some phytoplankton species secrete toxins that can harm fishes in the water. And also, they block out oxygen and sunlight from the underwater life. You can imagine nothing can live under there. When algae blooms happen over large areas, it is even known as the dead zone. You guessed it, nothing can live in there. Now, you might have the picture that phytoplankton must be very significant to the Earth's life. Well, you're right. Let me take you back to 4 billion years ago when the Earth barely has any oxygen. So if you time travel to there, you will have to wear oxygen masks. Now, no oxygen doesn't mean there's no life. There's definitely life, but they are anaerobic, or they don't depend on oxygen. Oxygen levels only started to rise when a species of microbes called cyanobacteria evolved to photosynthesize to absorb carbon dioxide and use the help of the sun to produce its nutrients. Now, the oxidation event began to unroll as these cyanobacteria multiplied and spread to every corner of the ocean, all the while filling the Earth's atmosphere with many bouts of oxygen. Many different photosynthetic microbes later emerged, some of them evolving into big macroscopic things like trees and plants on land. So yes, the trees that you see every day, they actually evolved from teeny tiny microbes in the ocean Can you believe that? Amazing, isn't it? And by the way, fun fact, they actually make 50 to 80% of the Earth's oxygen, more than all the trees in the world combined. Another thing about the phytoplankton is that they are the food source of the ocean. They are the grass of the sea, raised by little fishes and krill. If phytoplankton don't exist, these animals probably won't as well. And after that, the bigger fishes that feed on fishes, little fishes and krill wouldn't exist as well. And marine life will probably be gone. They are also coloring the coral reefs. You see, these corals wouldn't be colorful all by themselves. They are business partners to a species of phytoplankton called zooxanthellae, a type of algae. Basically, these corals provide home for the algae. Meanwhile, the algae provide food for the corals through their photosynthesis. Not a bad deal, huh? It's also beneficial to the environment. As these corals grow healthy and strong, they provide home for little marine animals on the ocean floor, attracting their predators. A diverse environment is created, and thus the rainforest of the sea. Now, you may wonder, are they affected by climate change? Well, they sure are. A phenomenon called coral bleaching happens when there are changes in water temperature, like the summer heat waves, or more recently, climate change. It can also be caused by water pollution. Now, why is that? It's because these factors cause the corals to get stressed. And when the corals get stressed, somehow the algae will struggle to process sunlight. And then they will start secreting toxins that will harm the coral. Now, obviously, these corals would want to break their business ties with them, right? Who wants to be business partners with someone who will kill you? So, you see. And oh, and by the way, it can also go the other way around. That is, phytoplankton's population growth can be affected by warmer waters. It will slow down. Now, if it slowed down, if phytoplankton population declines, it will cause carbon dioxide absorption to decline as well, which means a faster rate of global warming. So you see, phytoplankton are an important part of our lives. From making the earth livable to sculpturing beautiful corals, these phytoplanktons deserve our respect. So, what do you say? Let us give a mighty cheer to the unsung heroes of the ocean. Back to you.
We will now have 1 minute silence for judges to mark the ballot and for the next contestant, Japesh Madasani, to check for audio and video connections. Japesh Madusani, can you see the timer?
Yes.
Please repeat after me. I am going to succeed.
I am going to succeed.
I confirm that I can hear you and see you clearly. Japesh Madusani, your topic is the future of telecommunications industry, 5G, and all you need to know about it. Over to you, Japesh.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Japesh, and my topic for this educational speech is 5G, the future of the telecommunications industry, and all you need to know about it. Now, 5G is here and is set to change our world for the better. Most people today have heard of 5G, but not everyone understands exactly what it is and the positive impact it could have on society as well as businesses. Compared to the relatively incremental shift from 3G to 4G, 5G represents an entire new change. Yes, it is true that 5G represents the fifth generation of mobile networks, but let me tell you, it is so much more than that. 5G network will not only increase connectivity, but it is a platform which can only be limited by your imagination. Now, 5G, as mentioned earlier, is the fifth generation of cellular networks. Up to 100 times faster than 4G, 5G is creating never before seen opportunities in the world, especially for societies and people, consumers, and businesses. Faster connectivity speeds, ultra low latency, and greater bandwidth is transforming industries and dramatically enhancing day to day activities. With 5G technology, we can create a smarter, safer, and more sustainable future for mankind and our future. Now, how exactly does this 5G work? Whereas the previous generations were primarily radio focused, 5G represents an entire system with a radio, a telecom core, and operation systems, all transformed to support new requirements, unlike its predecessors. This will require new radio technologies, a virtualized cloud based core, and end to end management to facilitate automation and new concepts such as network slicing. Now, previous generations of mobile network technologies primarily addressed the needs of consumers, right? Because how do we know that? With 2G, we got voice and messaging services. We could finally call our grandmas far away from home. With 3G, we got web browsing. Thank you. And with 4G, higher speed data and video streaming. Now, the transition from 4G to 5G, however, stands to benefit both consumers as well as businesses across a wide range of industries. 2G, 3G, and 4G all led up to 5G, which is designed to provide more connectivity than was ever available before. With high speeds, superior reliability, and negligible latency, 5G will expand the mobile ecosystem into new realms. 5G will literally impact every industry, making, let's say, safer transportation, remote healthcare, precision agriculture, digitized logistics, and you name it, a reality. Now, how exactly is 5G different or better than 4G, which we are currently using? 5G is significantly faster than 4G. It has a more capacity than 4G. It is more unified. It is a more unified platform than 4G. and has significantly lower latency than 4G. Now, I mentioned the word latency a few times in my speech, but what exactly is it? Basically, it's the time delay between a user's action and the web application's reaction. So this is much reduced in 5G. Now, where is this 5G being used, right? Broadly speaking, 5G is used across three main types of connected services: enhanced mobile broadband, mission critical communications, and the massive IoT. Enhanced mobile broadband. In addition to making our smartphones better, the 5G mobile technology can usher in new experiences such as virtual reality and augmented reality. Mission critical communications. 5G can enable new services that can transform every industry, especially those requiring the reliability, availability, and low latency links like remote control of critical infrastructure, vehicles, and medical procedures. The massive IoT. 5G is meant to connect seamlessly through a number of embedded sensors in virtually everything. How? Through the ability to scale down in data rates, power, blah, blah, blah. Basically, providing extremely lean and low cost connectivity solutions. Now, how do consumers such as you and me use this 5G technology, right? Did you know that the average consumer is expected to use close to 11 GB of data per month on their smartphones? Now, why do you think that is? This is driven by the explosive growth in media traffic as the mobile is increasingly becoming the source of entertainment. Now, 4G completely changed how we consume information. In the past decade, we have witnessed leaps and bounds in the mobile app industry, especially around services such as ride sharing, food delivery, and especially video streaming. 5G will expand this current mobile ecosystem to new realms. This will contribute to cutting edge user experiences such as, let's see, extreme reality, XR, seamless IoT capabilities, and instant cloud access, to name a few. Now, how do businesses use 5G? With high data speeds and superior network reliability, 5G will have a tremendous impact on businesses. The benefits of 5G will also enhance the efficiency of businesses and give faster access to users for more information. Now, depending on the industry, some businesses can make full use of 5G capabilities, especially those needing the high speed, low latency, and network capacity that 5G is designed to provide. What comes under an example? For example, we can take smart industries. Smart factories could use 5G to run industrial Ethernet to help them increase operational productivity and precision. How do smart cities use 5G, right? Because that's always been in my dream, a smart city. Smart cities could use 5G in a variety of ways to transform the lives of people living in them, primarily providing greater efficiencies like, let's see, more connectivity between people and things, higher data speeds, and lower latency, and in ever before in areas like automotive safety, infrastructure, AR, and entertainment, obviously. Now, how will this 5G and G, too many G's, right? How will this 5G affect me though, right? Now, 5G is designed to do a variety of things that can transform our lives, guys, including giving us faster download speeds, right? You always want to download something in Netflix, which you can watch later when you're free. Well, that becomes almost instant with 5G. Another thing 5G does is it gives us connectivity for billions of devices and people all around the world, especially in areas of virtual reality, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence. For example, with IoT, or should I say with artificial 5G, you can have experiences including near instant access to cloud services, multiplayer cloud gaming, real time collaboration, and shopping with augmented reality, which is something I'm sure my mom would love. Now, I would like to end my speech with a quote by Hans Veshberg that 5G is not just another tech innovation, it's the platform that makes other innovations possible. Thank you.
We will now have 1 minute of silence for judges to mark their ballot and for the next contestant, Jose Adrian, to check for audio and video connections.
Okay, excuse me, am I audible? Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, can you see me here? Yes, okay. I think that's a yes by judging by your face. Okay. Okay, let me enlarge it here. Okay.
Jose Adrian, can you see the timer?
Yes, I can see the timer.
Please repeat after me. I am going to succeed.
I am going to succeed.
I confirm that I can hear you and see you clearly. Jose Adrian, your topic is Remember Lunch. Over to you.
Thank you. Think back to a really nostalgic and vivid memory. Got it? Okay. Now try to remember what you had for lunch 3 weeks ago. Yikes. That second memory right there probably isn't as strong. But why not? Why do we remember some things but not others? And why do memories just eventually fade away? Well, let's journey together to the subconscious mind and explore just how your brain, right here, remembers the important things in your life. Fundamentally, there are three main components in the creation of memory. First of which is encoding, a process in which you absorb information all around you and then converting that information into a usable form, which then could be stored in your memory for later on use, which is called retrieval right here. But, anyways, researchers actually believed that these electrical guys right here are the ones responsible for storing all of those memories that you have inside your head. Hence, the memories are created either by creating a new connection or strengthening the connections that you always had before. Anyways, memory experts Richard Atkinson and Richard Schifrin outline three stages or three categories or types of memory. The first one is sensory, continued by short term, and the last one, long term memory. Let's start with the beginning, shall we? Sensory memory is a very, 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 very brief memory. Now, you don't need to remember how many times I said very, because it's just a very, very, very. 0.5 seconds to be exact. Your eyes seeing me right now, waving my hands like a stupid person, or hearing me say very, 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 that is sensory memory right there. But you might have a question. Why do we remember sensory memory for only 0.5 seconds? Isn't that so short? Well, there's a reason for that. Your senses, during every moment of your existence, your senses, you see everything, you hear everything, and that takes up a lot of information and it takes a lot of effort for your brain to store all of it inside your tiny little brain right here. Your brain would explode if it just kept on exploring everything and remembering everything you had for the rest of your lifetime. So, your brain, being the smart brain it is, creates a quick snapshot of the world around you, letting you focus on the relevant details instead and focusing your attention on what you need to remember instead. But how do you remember that amazing and refreshing coffee you had this morning or this evening? Well, let's thank short term memory for that. Short term memory is also known as active memory, is the information that we are currently aware or thinking about. Now, this is where a lot of misconceptions come in. We usually say, oh my God, you have such a short term memory. You have a memory of a goldfish. Now, that is just mean, okay? And that is not the definition of a short term memory. Most of the information stored in short term memory is for 20 to 30 seconds. And this capacity can actually be stretched. So, no, your short term memory could actually be a mid term memory, or you could expand that limit. So, what do you do? What's the method in this? Well, for example, of this would be using memory strategies, such as phone numbers. Boom! When you see this, it's a hassle. I am just annoyed. I feel like I am the stupidest person in the room just because I forgot the last 5 digits of this large phone number above my head. So, what do? You cheat like you always do. Boom! Ta-da! Problem solved. It's called chunking. Google it later. Thank me. So, anyways, that is a method strategy for remembering memory, and it's called chunking. But it only expands your capacity, right? But what if you want it to be long term or last for a very, very long time? Well, there's a thing, and this is a tip that I could give you. It's called memory consolidation. Just like its name, it consolidates the memory or information that you've just obtained. It's the process in which you rehearse over and over and over again, and it improves your memory. You could do this by rehearsing or practicing that in specific information that you want to remember for a lifetime. So, by doing those rehearsing and practicing, you would eventually improve your neurons, which are basically responsible for your memory. But let's move on to the last one, shall we? Long term memory. This is your USB, your shelf. This is the largest storage in the brain. This type of memory tends to be really stable. It can last a long time, often for years, even a lifetime. So, if you remember something 10 minutes ago or a long time ago, that is definitely long term memory right there. However, there's a problem with this. Not all long term memories are actually created equally. What do I mean by this? Well, let me give you an analogy. Take a look at this bookshelf or library right here. You probably have that one favorite book that you always read whenever you're around. And that book that you love and like so much, you would just carry it around and read it so much you read it for the thousandth time. And what does that do to your memory? Well, that memory inside the book, it gets consolidated in your brain right here. Hence, when you try to remember what's inside the book, you don't need much effort compared to this yucky thing right here. It's just dusty. Don't mind me. But still, this book right here is just disgusting to look at. You have not touched it. And there is that just one book that you just hate. And it's just so boring that you don't want to touch it ever again. It could be your biology book or whatever you hate. And the reason why we can't remember what's inside this book is back to what I said before. You can't remember something that you haven't practiced or rehearsed. So this is the key to remembering information for a very, very, very long time. Hence, this conclusion. Memories that you actually recall often tend to stick around. So by rehearsing all of those information that you want to remember, you would have them to become much stronger. And this also explains why you usually can remember important events such as your wedding day or your birthday with such great clarity and detail. And okay, some of you might be complaining now after all those types of memories, especially long term memory. Why do we still forget a lot of things? Really? Well, let me answer that for you. Research has shown that one of the critical factors that influence memory failure is actually time. Information is just so quickly forgotten that if you don't actively review or rehearse that specific information, boom, it's gone out of your head. It's not in your shelf anymore. Hence, regardless, memories and how we store them, it plays an important role in our lives because memory is the only thing connecting your past to your present. Even if you forgot what you had for lunch 3 weeks ago, you still remember all of those beautiful, nostalgic, and vivid memories that you have in your past years. You can still remember them, and it only takes a moment to make a memory, but a lifetime to forget them. So cherish them and take your little neurons right here. Back to you, contest master.
That concludes the third Agoracon educational speech contest. I would now ask the chief judge, judges, timer 1, and the tally counters to leave the room for the breakout room.
Mike, we need your help in identifying the judges, please. Because we can't see the judges. They have not named themselves as judges. So how do we send them to the breakout?
There's Judge JS, but they don't need to go into the breakout room. If Pool Chan is still there, he could go in and I could go in with tally counter 1. But if you can put me in.
Okay. Sanjay, can you please send Mike, Fulchand, Anirudh, and tally counter 1? You need to send Kundan also. You need to send Ryan to the breakout room. I guess so. Everyone are in the breakout room now. Ryan, you're still here? Did Ryan leave the room? Okay.
Kritika? Sorry, Kritika, the stage is yours again. Please put your hands together for the contest master Kritika. Again, for hosting a wonderful session. As we await for the results, it's time to learn from the experienced, so we can improve our confidence as well as our speaking skills. To introduce our next speaker, he's a ninth grader from Timpani ICSE School. He enjoys reading books and playing video games and chess. Japesh, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, once again I am back. Colonel Shyam Vijay Simha is an Indian Army officer with over 2 decades of service in the Indian Army, comprising a rich experience in battle, staff duties, and in the field of logistics. As a paratrooper, the colonel stands tall with a galore of medals pinned to his chest, having taken part in many operations of the Indian Army, like Operation Vijay at Kargil. Today, the colonel walks with bullets still pinned to his chest. Colonel, an alumni of IIM Lucknow, is a postgraduate in mathematics and has 3 master's degrees in management to his name. Our Colonel has co-authored the bestseller book Shifting Gears, and as a sportsman, Colonel has won a plethora of championships in chess and badminton. Colonel is a possibilitarian, pathfinder, and a change activator. Please put your hands together for Colonel Shyam Vijay Simha.
Thank you so very much for the kind words. Um, after listening to the speakers who have spoken about self-actualization, how to acknowledge your own self, discipline, and many other such qualities which one needs to have as a person and as a speaker, and having learned about the landscape of this country, here I am trying to put across a concept called crisis leadership. I was generally as what anybody was. I had this opportunity to finish my graduation and post-graduation without any hitch. There was no crisis. I was absolutely fine, going well with my studies. And then once I finished my studies, I never knew, nor was I thinking in the wildest of the dreams, that I would be graduating into the world of crisis. I selected armed forces as my career and joined armed forces. Much to my surprise and much to my satisfaction, we were inducted into a war in very early years of my service. And this was the Kargil war, wherein our enemy has occupied certain areas of our own country. The task given to us was to evict the enemy and move ahead. So here I am moving my platoon from, I was a platoon commander that time. I was moving my platoon from one mountain to another mountain just to save myself. It was like hell cut loose because there was intense shelling across the mountains. The ranges were ranging between 17,000 feet to 19,000 feet and anywhere in between. There were men who were looking up to me and thinking that I would communicate to them. I would try and pep them up, motivate them. But here I am, totally down, stuck with crisis. I was supposed to be the leader of those men. So it was all like falling apart. I slowly crawled up to my senior and I asked him, "Sir, do we have any information about the enemy who was perched on the mountain top?" The answer was negative. I said, "Do we have any information that the path to the mountain top was not mined?" The answer was negative. I asked him, "Do we have any information as to what was our next plan?" The answer was negative. So there was no information. In fact, the information was totally scanty. We didn't know how many people were there on the top. We didn't know what route to take, and we were shelled intensely. We were losing men every minute. It was chaos unfurling, and I was unable to actually grapple with the situation. So I asked my senior, who appeared to be more composed. I asked him, "Sir, if we don't know anything, how are we fighting? What are we doing here? Why are we waiting to die?" So he said a story to me in the middle of the battlefield. He told me that in 1971, India-Pakistan war, there was this tank regiment suddenly appeared, popped up from nowhere in front of a post which was held by Major Kuldeep Singh Chandpuri. The tank regiment had numerous tanks, and the men who were guarding the border were no match to the tanks. Tank was a huge machine, right? So Kuldeep Singh Chandpuri conveyed the same message to his headquarters saying, "Sir, now I am stuck. There is a huge crisis unfolding in front of us." For this, the headquarters told him that you can withdraw. The men in his team were slowly falling apart. They were actually losing confidence. However, Kuldeep Singh Chandpuri had a different plan. He said, "Come what may, I will stand here." And we were victorious in the battle. Now, how did you do this? So my senior asked me, "What did you learn from this?" So I said, "Sir, first thing is, he was absolutely clear in his mind what he wanted to do. As a leader, particularly stuck in crisis, you should be goal-oriented. You should know what is your goal." Kuldeep Singh Chandpuri in that situation knew that in case if he withdrew, then the hinterland of India was not far away from the enemy. So he wanted to stay put. He knew that it is him and his troops who were standing between Pakistan and the Indian sovereignty. He knew that he can achieve it. So my senior told me, "What does that mean?" I said, "Sir, he was confident on himself." He said, "Okay, great." And I said, "He believed in his troops and himself." He said, "Okay, great. Then what?" Then he said he was clear in his thoughts. He was absolutely composed. He knew that he can do it, and that is called self-belief. The first speaker who spoke about self-awareness and acknowledgement of oneself is this. So as a crisis leader, one has to always understand the situation first and then progress. And my senior gave me one beautiful mantra, and that is never say die. Never ever back down was the word. As a crisis leader, one has to understand this, develop that resilience and warrior mindset in them, and continue moving in the direction of crisis to actually subdue that crisis. So the war went on. We started climbing mountains. We started taking post after the post. There was a lot of clarity in my mind after the talk. I started communicating with my troops. I started telling them that the war is going to end any time now, and we have an upper hand, etc., etc. So what has happened is, unfortunately, we were hit with another crisis. In fact, I was hit with another crisis. The crisis was in one of the raids, I was grievously wounded. I was hit by bullets and splinters, and I was lying there down on ice. It was a glaciated terrain, and I was lying there in open, absolutely in the vision and view of the enemy, who actually wanted to pick me up alive. And here are my troops who were standing behind a boulder, trying for a chance, or waiting for a chance, just to pull me to safety. The crisis was absolutely clear, and it was an existential crisis. I knew that now it's just a matter of time that these guys are going to walk down and pick me up and then take me to Pakistan. So what has happened? But I never lost hope. Whatever I have learned from my senior, I never lost hope. I started talking to myself that this is going to pass. My men will never leave me. My men will come for me. And I was constantly reaffirming this thought. And sure enough, I had two of my men walking there, pulling me to safety, and subsequently evacuating me down to safety, or to say, to a hospital. 6 months of hospitalization. Unfortunately, I was declared dead, and just to find out that I was alive. 6 months of hospitalization, still having 3 bullets inside me. The crisis moved one step further. They were not sure whether I will be hale and hearty after the injury. So that was again a serious question to my career. If you're not physically fit and if you're not really up to the mark, then you will not be in the forces, which I loved so much. So that was another thing which I had in my mind. Fortunately or unfortunately, the same thing happened to me. I was absolutely cool-headed. I walked up to this doctor and I told him, sir, you try your best. In case if things work out well, and if I return hale and hearty, that is fine for me. If I don't, it's okay. And I was ready to take whatever comes in my way. Doing my best and standing there to take on what comes to me is one of the quality which my senior tried to grill in me. That is one of the major quality of a crisis leader. Now, to cut the story short and fast forward to 2020, after putting around 2.5 decades of service in Indian Army, I have decided to move on, take on a civil employment, stay closer to the family, fulfill the responsibilities which I couldn't when I was in service. Unfortunately for me, I have applied for premature retirement, and I got my premature retirement at the start of 2020. And we all know what happened in 2020. There were waves of COVID stains everywhere. There were lockdowns. Employment was a tip. People were being laid off. Companies getting shut. And here I am walking into the market to sell myself and earn unemployment. Crisis again stuck. I didn't understand what happened to me. I mean, I was one guy who was in army who had this physical contact wherein we used to talk to person, meet him in person, and deliver our whatever deliverables we have and understand what the other person wanted to say. But here I am where I couldn't move out of my house. Here I am now completely thrown in a field which I am not aware of. Here I am grappling with the situation of how to work or how to do a job that is external work versus being at home and then working. I had a tough time. So how did I do this? I mean, my senior, as what he said, never back down. I actually stuck to it. I started adapting to the situation, whatever it has come in my way. I tried to understand what is the requirement of the world. I tried to understand the virtual world, which we were all subjected to in the year of 2020. I have started making and showing my presence in social medias. I have started understanding being on the screen and still able to motivate the person who is sitting far away from you. How do you do it? I have taken a course, upskilled myself, tried my best to come out of this crisis, but the luck never worked for me. In the sense, 2020, the entire year was written off. We couldn't muster a single employment during that period. Nobody opened up the job avenues. So 2020 was a year of crisis for everybody, for the entire world, so was for me. However, in 2021, as the lockdowns lifted in India, first thing was that I tries to give you that emotional balance so that your external person, that is your body language, becomes more appealing and pleasing and looks courageous to take on the challenges. So the balance between internal and external person is what makes you a crisis leader. Is it very tough? Not at all. So how do we take it? There are a few points to become a crisis leader. First and the foremost is have absolute clarity. You should be goal driven. Your goal should be absolutely visible to you. You should know where are you going to hit, where are you actually moving ahead. In 1971, Sam Manekshaw, Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw had this vision absolutely clear when he was walking into Bangladesh. So he refused to move into Bangladesh in month of June, and he decided to move in the month of December. The plan and clarity of thought won the war for us. Be decisive. You should be absolutely decisive on what do you want. There are times when you fail. There are times when things appear absolutely bleak. There are times when crisis seems to be mounting on you and you don't have the wherewithal to stand up to the crisis. But then, if you can hold on for that one more minute, if you decide to hold on for that one more hour, if you can hold on for that one more day, you will be labeled as a crisis leader. And is it really difficult? Not at all. How? If you want to hold on, just think this way. The person whom you felt or idolized as the best leader or a crisis leader has always gone through the same circumstances what you are presently encountering with a different magnitude. He faced the same pain, same humiliation, and same circumstances. However, he stood there, he worked there, he never backed down. So that makes a lot of difference. That makes you a better crisis leader. Now, I always keep telling people crisis leadership is one thing, one quality which we all should understand and learn. For this, I propagate and profess 7 C's. 7 C's. The first C is calm and composure. We understand hell is cutting loose, absolutely fine. So what? Let us stay where we are. Let us absolutely stay with our wits in our control. Let us stay calm. If you start jumping around when the crisis stuck, you're bound to lose. It's an evident and known fact that all non-swimmers die. 99% of non-swimmers die because of panic the moment they hit water. If you are steady, if you are absolutely calm, you will come out of water and then you can plan on your next thought. The moment you jump into the water, if you start throwing your arms and legs left, right, and center, what happens is you're losing your energy and oxygen, and thus you gulp a lot of water and die, right? So being calm and composed at every situation is the hallmark of a crisis leader, and it is achievable. Next comes confidence. We all are confident about our own self. We all are confident about our path which we choose, and we are supposed to be. We have to be confident on our own motive and our own pursuit. The moment you are confident, it shows. The team which you are leading will feel and find that calm because you are a confident leader. They understand that you will take them through any crisis. So have confidence. Next is communicate. The third C is communicate. Be communicating constantly with your own self and with your team. Tell yourself that you can tide over this. Tell yourself that you are reaffirming your own self-belief and confidence in yourself. Tell your team that as a team, we can tide over this. Nothing is bigger than our team, right? So communicate. Next comes collaboration. You cannot achieve the tag of crisis leadership alone. None of the leaders of the world can boast that they alone have achieved this tag of leadership and crisis leadership. They had a team which supported them with decision making, They had a family. Crisis is not about you sailing through that. So what next in case if you sail through it? What are you going to do the moment you sail through the community, through the crisis? What are you going to give back to the community? How are you, as a crisis leader, aiming to achieve that balance in the community where the crisis you will mitigate over a period of time? So aim at achieving harmony in the community. Next comes empathy and compassion. The sixth C is compassion and empathy. Try being compassionate. It's not difficult. Empathize. Try to think from the other man's point of view. You will get surprised to get wonderful ideas and views the moment you start thinking from the other man's shoe. And beyond that, you will earn the trust and loyalty of that person who will stand by you during the crisis. So try and be empathetic. Next comes is composure. Don't ever lose your composure. Never be angry. Never start throwing your fists because you are subjected to a crisis. It's okay. No issues. Stand there. Understand. Try and understand the situation. Glean as much as possible. And then try to analyze, evaluate, and succeed. So these are the 7 C's which I generally profess for a crisis leader. So crisis leadership is one thing which is quite very much required in the present day's world, wherein each and every day there is a new crisis which is cropping up. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this opportunity to speak on crisis leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalyan Sham. Sir, if you're open, we have a couple of questions for you. Sanjay Pradesh, can you please help me unmute them?
Yeah, I am open to the questions. Yeah.
Kalasham, I can completely empathize with you because I come from the same services background. So I can understand what it was during the Kargil time and how difficult it must have been to hang your boots. So we do have a question from one of the audience, a very young member. He wants to find out how tough was it to take a call to retire from the army and like to get disconnected from your passion?
It was very tough. It is not easy to move out of a place where you have always yearned to be in. And it was with a lot of heartburns and a lot of, what do you call, iterations and reiterations, I took this decision because somewhere I found that I was missing to fulfill my responsibilities towards my family. My mother was old and I had to get back to my mother. Though it was tough, then I decided that this was the right call to take on, and that's how I come out. Yes, it is very tough. Leave your passion more.
I forget that I need to unmute myself. Yes, I can understand how tough it would have been, what you would have been contemplating before you have taken this such a decision. So we have one more question. How does a person find the courage in the face of danger?
Whenever you get, particularly in Indian Army, when a new officer gets into, when a person gets into Indian Army, there is one thing called Chetwood Credo, which is taught to them. The Chetwood Credo is from General Chetwood, and it says that the safety, security, and sovereignty of the country comes first, always, and every time. The welfare, safety of your men you command comes next, always, and every time. And you yourself and your safety, your security, and your comfort comes last, always, and every time. So this is what is drilled to us. First and the foremost is nation comes first, always. So getting courage, mustering courage in the face of enemy to protect the sovereignty. There is something which we call in Indian Army as Josh. That is that spirit of the team which walks in just to get back that land, the motherland, from the enemy is one great thing which I understood. And this is what keeps us going. Courage under fire is to protect my men, is to protect my country, is to, yes, stand in between the bullet fired by the enemy and my men so that I can protect them. So the courage comes in that way, man. I mean, nation comes first always and every time.
Thank you, sir. Well said. So we have one more question. How tough is it to apply the 7 Cs for an officer posted at the Siachen Glacier, keeping the harsh conditions in mind?
It is not at all tough. It is, first and the foremost, is self-awareness. Understanding yourself, being calm and composed is one thing which wins a lot of medals and accolades for you. If you can just understand this one word which Buddha said, this too shall pass. And if you just can hold on for another minute, I think you have done the wonder. So it is not tough at all, ma'am. It can be achievable, practicable. Whether Siachen, whether any place, it is achievable.
Thank you, sir. One more question from the same person. How tough is it to keep composed when a fellow army officer next to you is martyred in a battle?
Yeah, you will be overwhelmed with emotions, but then that's what the soldier is made of, to make the supreme sacrifice for the country in the protection of the country. So we kept losing people, as I said in my talk also, we kept losing people, but then our goal, we are so stricken to our goal that our goal is to evict the enemy, irrespective of the cost which we are going to pay. Whether my boy, whether my friend, whether my senior, if I lose everybody, including me, I will still walk up to that mountain peak to get that peak, win that peak for my country. This is what, this is how we work.
Really hats off to you, sir, for having that courage to face the enemies in spite of seeing your friend, your fellow officer, martyred next to you. It really takes a lot from a person inside. Thank you, sir. It was really a pleasure to have you here with us. And I am privileged that I could share the stage with you and ask you these questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Japesh, the floor is yours.
What an engaging and mesmerizing speech, sir. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Colonel Shyam once again. Now I hand the stage.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Now I hand the stage back to the Master of Ceremonies, Shloka.
Thank you, Japesh. As the most awaiting part for today are the results. So, before we announce the results, we have some fun facts for you we have some fun facts. Sanjay, could we start the play, please? We wanted you to assimilate what you heard until now. That's why the slideshow was muted. The most awaited part of the day, the results. I call upon the contest master, Kritika, to do the needful. Kritika, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Chief Judge.
Thank you so much. Would you like me to read out the names, or do you have them on a placard? Kritika,
Yes, sir.
what would you like me to do? Read out the names, or do you have them on a screen?
I guess I am supposed to read them out according to my script. Sir, should I go ahead or would you like to
Yes.
read out the names?
No, I'll let you do it. I'll let you do it.
Okay, thank you, sir. We
You
have
have
the
them.
results with us. The third place goes to Josephine N. Indraswari. Congratulations. The second place goes to Gary Tho. Congratulations.
Sanjay Pratish, could you please spotlight the winners?
So go back. Yeah, Josephine is there. Hi, Josephine.
The second place goes to Gary Tho. Congratulations.
Jose is smiling.
Sanjay, can you pin Gary? Okay. And the first place goes to Jose Adrian. Congratulations.
Hooray, hooray, Jose, hooray, Jose, hooray, Jose.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you. Back to you, Kritika. Thank you so much, everyone.
You deserve it.
Congratulations. Congratulations to all the winners and contestants. Thank you, Chief Judge Mike Nicholson, his team of judges, tally counter Kundan Shagvi, Anirudh Pakala, timer Rayan. With this, we come to the end of the third educational speech contest. I wish each and everyone all the best. See you in the fourth International Educational Speech Contest to be held next year. I now hand over the stage back to Shloka.
Thank you, Kritika. Congratulations to all the winners and contestants.